Hey YouTube, this is Zach with Achilles Financial, and we are back taking a look at some of our chip companies today. So of key importance and really what drove the move today is Micron Technology, or MU. They announced earnings yesterday and they actually killed it, which was a little bit of a surprise. They beat expectations right there, you can see, by about 5 cents a share. But the big thing that came about as a result of this was the increased revenue was very strong and the expectation that it would continue to increase. So what are some of the other stocks or parallel stocks that we saw big moves in? So the two big move, or rather slow movers, we saw AMD. As you can see here, they actually had a 5% increase today. And this is of particular importance and one that I am watching pretty closely, just because if you see coming out of the crisis, I'll put it on a year, they didn't have the same growth that I would have expected. So I don't know if we are waiting for that breakout. Again, they had really good earnings, and this was back in Q1. However, their Q1 earnings, they said that they're going to withdraw guidance despite the fact that they had a really good performance and everyone was super optimistic about that, and then they came back and said we're withdrawing our guidance, and that lack of clarity has kind of been a hindrance to them. There is a lot of optimism, particularly around their gaming segment, so I'd like to see a breakout. As you can see, they've been trading in this range, just kind of stuck here. So the 52-week high of 59.27 actually came back in February, so there hasn't been that breakout that we've seen here. The reason that I highlight this AMD, because I'd say their largest competitor, or the person that they get brought up, or company that they get brought up with, is NVDA. And NVDA has just been absolutely on a tear. You can see that all these companies, again, they had that big run up at the beginning of the day, and they've just kind of traded in that range. So when we look at this 1 year, you can see where after the kind of blow up in February that everyone was so excited about, we kind of traded in that range. But unlike NVIDIA, or rather unlike AMD, they exploded out here. Again, one of the issues with NVIDIA stock is their options are very expensive and they expect them to move a lot. I love playing this stock because they are a good mover. It's one of my things that I'm going to be interested in is, are they going to move upwards tomorrow? So with a lot of the other stocks, today we saw a big spike running into the end of the day, and again, that really hasn't been uncommon. You can see that they went all the way up and it bounced off 110. So the question is going to be, are we going to see this run up continue? There has been a lot of talk surrounding that we should see people continue to be excited and optimistic through July 4th and through that weekend. I'm interested to see if people want to hold their stocks over that 3-day weekend. But if the market continues to go up, I would not be surprised to see the chip holders continue to go up as well, just because they did kind of level out while the rest of the market caught up today. So they're hanging around 380 right now. The high for today was just above that. I think it was 381.05. So there's still potential. If they have that breakout into an all-time high, we could continue to see a big move. Again, short week, so we've got tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday before the market closes. So I'm going to be watching that. It's going to be interesting. Again, big mover. If we have some good news and the market goes up, they may ride up with it. And if people are bullish on the overall market, then that may be a catalyst for them. Last on the list that I want to talk about is Intel. Intel is one of our blue chip companies, and they had a big move for them. Again, if we're looking at their experience over the course of the week, this is a huge move for them. For someone who's traditionally a slow mover, their contracts are relatively inexpensive, although they have gone up, particularly on the call side today. So may want to give this one a breather. I always like Intel just because they are a great company and they offer a nice dividend yield. Again, I think this is a little out of date. I think the dividend yield is a little bit higher right now, but they are a great company. However, if we look at this, you can see that they were kind of in the same boat that we saw AMD, without that same recovery up to that same level. So all the chip makers really had a good first part of the year, but Intel, they just haven't been able to break out. Again, that 58. I think that even at one point I had a call for like $70 July 17th, and that was like 3 months ago, and they just have not been able to get back into that breakout pattern. So I'd like to see them blow up, but they're really not producing as much right now in terms of a competitive advantage. NVIDIA is definitely the market leader when it comes to that approach. So still a good company, just not one that I'm necessarily looking at to add to a portfolio at this point. I am going to continue to watch NVIDIA, but they are very expensive. So they continue to announce partnerships and such as well. All this to say, out of the 4 stocks that I'm looking at today between MU, INTC, AMD, NVDA, I really like NVIDIA for options play, but they are expensive and they move a lot. So AMD is kind of my sister play that I am going to continue to be looking at, and I'd like to continue to add more shares to my holding. So this is going to be a good one. I'm going to be watching them. Again, they need that breakout. So maybe seeing that, maybe waiting for the earnings play on them. So just depending on what those options prices are in the run up to earnings, but we've got some time to run on those. So I like the chip makers. Again, all of this catalyst that we see today is based off of very good revenue and earnings projections for MU. And if they are continuing to do well, then I'd like to see the same thing apply to AMD and NVIDIA. So if you found this content helpful, please leave a like and subscribe. Thanks everyone. Talk to you later.